Yeah, come this side, both of you. Don't sit behind the computer, please, if you can avoid it. If we cannot, that's okay. Part B of March 16th has not been uploaded, we are informed.
Yeah, I was sent a link after it is. I'll send a link for an audio because
Vasanti and Craig.
Okay.
Oh, the video didn't.
The video, I don't know why it didn't catch.
Yeah, so our karma was not very good. And apparently the video didn't catch. But then our karma wasn't that bad either, because we have audio. Right?
Yes. It just got sent out yesterday to somebody since then.
So much fun. Lots of fun. Okay, any other ashram keeping questions? Live stream has a sound problem. Why? Is the camera not on? Is the
mic's on.
mic's on? Camera is on.
The camera's on. Maybe
Yeah.
the
Oh,
battery
that's
is-
right. You know, I should stop pointing to the mic and calling it a camera. That will help.
So they can't hear?
Well, you know, they cannot hear. I got one email yesterday also saying that the sound is chopped up into small pieces.
What did we do?
I forgot whose email it was, but yesterday, no, day before, one of these days, yesterday I think I got an email.
Well, they probably just had a nice sound craft.
Mm.
I don't know if that will make any difference. Or maybe we need a new battery again.
Or put a note there saying migrate over here
Migrate to that.
if the sound is choppy. Because it seems to record all right, but that's what it is. It might have been a connection issue, yes. Okay, sound got better, we are informed. Ah.
Closer then.
So it needed to...
Keep pointing towards Swamini.
Ah. Where or which link has the audio? No, it is on request only. So you send an email to this address, I'll give you. I hope I'm giving the correct address. We'll find out. And it is by request. So you send an email to Janani at that address, and then, you know, if you haven't received anything, that means the email address is wrong. But then if you receive something, then that is the correct email address. So please write a request and tell the date of the audio, and so you the date of the missing. Yeah, A or B. I think we already said, but you say it in the email. Part B they said, but yeah, you say it again in the email. So the whole March 16th, nothing came.
No, the early morning session came, and then
The second one just
session didn't
died.
come.
Okay.
And there's another one. They're looking into something. I'll bring India to actually work the other person.
Uh-huh. Okay. Come. Namaste. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We'll chant the verses together. Let's try how it sounds, okay? Yeah. ॐ ब्रह्मादेवानां प्रथमः सम्बभूव विश्वस्य कर्ता भुवनस्य गोप्ता स ब्रह्म विद्यां सर्वविद्याप्रतिष्ठाम् अथर्वाय ज्येष्ठपुत्राय प्राह अथर्वणेयां प्रवदेत ब्रह्मा अथर्वातां पुरोवाचाङ्गिरे ब्रह्म विद्यां स भारद्वाजाय सत्यवहाय प्राह भारद्वाजोऽङ्गिरसे परावरां शौनको ह वै महाशालः अङ्गिरसं विधिवदुपसन्नः पप्रच्छ कस्मिन्नु भगवो विज्ञाते सर्वमिदं विज्ञातं भवतीति तस्मै स होवाच द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये इति हस्म यद्ब्रह्मविदो वदन्ति परा चैवापरा च. Very good. I'm so happy. It's sounding very decent. And it did not shut live stream off. So that is good. So, very happy. So, we are looking at the Purva Pakshi. What is a Purva Pakshi? The doubter, one who we cannot stop doubting. The fellow found fault with the question and now he is finding fault with the answer. Correct? Yeah. So, and let us look at his objection. And we have looked at the objection, but just for the sake of connection, let us look at the objection again and read it. Nanu kasmin vidite sarvavid bhavati iti shaunakena prishtam tasmin vaktavye aprishtam aha angiraha dve vidye ityadina. Yeah, so understand the objection because it has been 24 hours since we last looked at it. So good to look at it again. What is the objection? The objection is that you should only talk as much as you have been asked to talk. What did the student say? What is that one thing knowing which everything is known? And what does the teacher say? You have to know two things. What is this? You know? How can this fellow call himself a teacher? You know? He's not even having a basic viveka. Forget, Vedanta knowledge. He doesn't even have the basic discrimination to delineate and answer questions properly. How can this, Angiras, first case Angiraha, how can this fellow tell that he is, how can he call himself a teacher of Vedanta when the student comes with a serious question? I want to know that one thing, and the student has spent time contemplating on that one thing, and what is that one thing? And of course, backing the question is that passion for learning. And then this fellow talks something else. No connection. And so the objectioner says that this fellow, in responding thus, that, there are two things to be known, has made a big mistake. In other words, we shouldn't study this Upanishad further. So, stay order, Shouldn't study this Upanishad further. Why do you have to study this further? What will this tell us? Because already the teacher has been disqualified from, dethroned. Very quickly, before even the fellow sat on the seat, the dethroning of the teacher has taken place. Why? Because he is talking rubbish, invalid things. And so Adi Shankara, raises this objection specifically because this is a common problem with discovering which one encounters in the process of discovering oneself as the student. Because that is really what the teacher doesn't have a board on the head or hanging on the neck. Guru. There is no guru board or a little, what is that, name plate. That's not what it is. You can have other, titles. You can say doctor, you can say, so guru is not an occupation. It's the very being of the person, and that the being of the person is nothing other than knowledge. And when you or when anyone invokes that knowledge out of the person, that person is known as a teacher, a guru. So the guru is a relational title that is drawn out from the person. That occupation is drawn out by the student. You see what I am saying? Otherwise, there is no guru. There is not some kind of a title. So and so guru resides here. And sometimes people call themselves Jagat Guru, Guru of the universe. Oh my God, what a big burden! Horrible. And then same thing goes, same answer goes for people who keep saying, "Are you a guru?" I will say no. And then sometimes they may personalize this. Are you my guru? That is not something, that is for the person to decide. Because in every Upanishad, and also in other traditions also, which have this whole, the learning through apprenticeship, or sitting at the feet of. In all traditions, who approaches who? Does the teacher say, come one, come all, and learn from me? No. If a teacher says that, beware. Really, what else can I say? So who approaches who here? Huh? Teacher approaches? Wishful thinking. Yeah, teacher doesn't approach anyone. In fact, the one who doesn't approach is a teacher. So the approach, in fact, this Upanishad is all about elucidating that, the whole nature of the approach. So the approaching is done by the student, not by the teacher. The seeking.
Student's ready, teacher appears.
Yeah, but the appearance is what? The appearance is student's good bhagya. But yesterday I gave you another version of that. We don't say that particularly. The readiness means the readiness brings it on. It's an order. It's a law. What is really important to see is that when the student is ready with the knowledge, the teacher disappears. So the thing is that the seeking, you cannot just sit and say it will come. It won't come. You can have that same attitude towards the knowledge, saying if I am meant to have it, I will come. If you have that same, attitude towards your lunch, if I am meant to eat, it will come. If you are ready to sit in one place, okay, have the same attitude towards your job, towards the children, towards every other occupation. You have that same wild abandon. I am in the hands of Ishvara. Let Ishvara take care of me. And if the food is supposed to come, let it come. And if the food is supposed to come, let it come. But people don't have that attitude, interestingly. They will pursue everything else to the ends of the earth. But then when this knowledge comes, they will say, I want the teacher to choose me. This is prom mentality. I told you yesterday. Yes. And that's why the Upanishad keeps reiterating who is approaching who. All right. If you say that, and if the Upanishads are saying that, in all other traditions we see that the student only is approaching the teacher, fine, I'll approach. What? All right, no problem. I'll approach, fine. You want me to approach, I'll approach. What is the attitude behind this approach? A default, kind of a jaded, faded attitude, correct? And in this jaded, faded attitude, meaning nothing has worked, this is the last recourse, I'll try this. Not like my life depends on it or I really want this knowledge, but more in the sense of, all right, everybody is saying, so let's just give this a try. So the hopeless, helpless jiva, is on a mission to find a guru. And sees somebody and says, all right, I'll approach. But then inside the head what is happening is that, one has this is a culture and this is also a time of instant gratification. Everybody wants everything fatafat. What is fatafat? Just as it sounds, Yeah, quick fix. Quick fix for my ignorance. Never mind that you studied the Veda for 15 years. I want it in 5 minutes. So quick fix for my ignorance, quick fix for all the broods of the ignorance thereof. Because ignorance is a brooding matter, It breeds and it has brood. It has a whole brood. And we have discussed what they are. All these, misperception, wrong perception, internalization of guilt, hurt, the whole package arising from the ignorance. So I'm carrying a lot of luggage when I go to the Guru, correct? And then this bent out of shape jiva, with all the carrying the luggage, goes to the door of the Guru. And then the first question that is asked is always a test. Test of what? The student? No. Testing the teacher. Let's see how he will answer this. He or she. Let's see what we are talking of Angiras here, so I said he. So Shaunako havai mahashalaha. Mahashalaha means, yes, very equipped and all this and whatever. But we are talking here of the Purva Paksha. Shaunaka is fine, very equipped. And maybe in his questioning, there was no disrespect. But in questioning that question, and further in questioning the answer, so we are coming across that kind of a non-ideal lurking mentality that is probably there in every student in this particular day and age of multitasking and instant gratification. And what is that? Let us see if this fellow knows or not. Yes, let us see if this person knows or not. So they'll ask one question. What should I do to do this? And let's say the teacher answers by saying what you should not do first. And immediately the teacher is a big cross, sometimes you have all these things with a slash meaning no, 0, No smoking if they want to write. They will draw a circle, put the word smoking and put a slash on it, meaning no smoking. Same thing, they will draw a circle, put whining on it and put a slash, meaning what? No whining. And then you draw a circle in your mind, put the teacher's face there and put a cross, a slash. Meaning this person doesn't know. So what this questioning of the Purva Pakshi, the doubter here The doubt is not coming from a literal reading, like, oh, he asked for one and the teacher is giving the wrong answer too. No. The doubt is much deeper than that. We have to go to the depths of that person's psyche, the questioner's psyche here, and look at the cause of ashraddha. What is ashraddha? Disrespect. Totally. Lack of shraddha. And so where is this disrespect coming from? The person is not intending to disrespect. The person is helpless to not do this. Too helpless. And what is the person caught up in? Because something is catching, to not allow that spontaneous open-mindedness to be present and to take place. So what is that is blocking this open-mindedness? To just saying, okay, let me sit and listen. Maybe I don't know. Let me give this person who I have, seen as an erudite person the benefit of doubt. So what is this that is blocking me? And that block, more often than not, is within the recesses of one's own psyche, needing to be discovered. So what is this block? I have to see. Instead of saying that, the person is held by that block. In those olden days, we used to have those punishments. There is what is that called? Stocks. Yeah. This is what happens if you don't take stock of the inner psyche. You are bound by it in stocks. It will take stock of you, literally. Yeah, so there are 3 openings. So there is a wood pallet with 3 openings, 2 small ones for the wrists and 1 slightly large one for the neck. And so the person being punished is told to put that, and the other one comes down. Little better than the guillotine, but where it's head off. No, the head is there, hands are there, and you can just wave. That's about what to keep the circulation. So the person's own inner infrastructure is like a stock that is coming in the way of this relating. In fact, the most important relationship, which is going to dismiss this ignorance. In fact, this is the only relationship that is functional, because otherwise we are mired in dysfunctional relationships. Everything is walking on the shells of the eggs. It's a prance, it's a dance. Approach, avoid. No. I think better not say anything. Let's just keep quiet. Let's not rock the boat, rock everything. And that's why one often remains, in a way, in the relationships. Very rarely does one, use the relationship for self-growth. Otherwise one remains kind of subdued, because one is, bound in those dysfunctional situations. And here, the relationship with a teacher, I say, is the most functional. A teacher of Brahma Vidya, the one who has done that inner work, it's the most functional. You know why? Because all the attachment or the fear or anything that is brought to bear and is directed against the teacher is not, responded to in the same manner. Yeah. It's not responded to. So therefore it is safe, because all the projections, dejections, rejections that are directed against the teacher, it's like a wall. It just slides off. Teflon. Yeah, it's a non-stick thing, because the teacher is not participating. The teacher has received the knowledge from his or her own teacher to learn to not participate in that transference. Carl Jung calls it counter-transference. One problem is transference, because you have your own thing about another person. So you project your own whatever. Usually the first few years of one's life, whatever it is, the impressions that are gathered are projected. So that is bad enough, correct? Yes, but there is something even worse than that. In ordinary relationships, there is the counter-transference. Where, because the person who is on the receiving end of the transference is not a blank slate, they also have some writing on it. And then what happens? They also react based on that writing, correct? Based on their own whatever uninterrogated infrastructure. That there is an infrastructure is not a problem. it is God given, but that this infrastructure is uninterrogated and is just being distributed, freely to the neighborhood. That is the problem. Unasked. This is dhanam, correct? So this is being distributed. That is the problem. So here the teacher has the wherewithal to not practice or not participate in the counter transference. That's why the relationship becomes very safe. I was very privileged to be part of a very wonderful conversation last time, when I was with Pujya Swamiji, and there was one person that he knew who he had gone to school with, his school buddy, yeah. In Indian parlance we say chaddi buddy, like from the time the people wore shorts, children. So this person was just, and I could see that was so beautiful to watch him with Swamiji. And Swamiji was, and he told me that I have known Swamiji since we were both this high, and we used to climb trees together, and we used to jump into bodies of water, rivers from the trees, and all these things. So he was telling me all these things. And he says, I have been listening to Swamiji from a long time. He was married, he was a grandfather, he had a family, and his family was also there. And he said that only one problem, he told me, and it was not clear who he was telling. Whether he was telling Swamiji or me, it was not clear. We were both there. And he said, there's only one problem, however, I'm too much attached to him. I'm so attached to him, I can't let go of him. And Swamiji said, that is extremely safe because I'm not participating in it. It is safe. This attachment is very safe because you will not get into trouble. He didn't say I'm not participating in it. I am saying that. That is my bhashya over that conversation, my commentary. But he said this is extremely safe. You will not have any harm here. It is harmless and safe. And that is something which is very beautiful to see. And so here the questioner, in questioning the answer, is coming with one's own infrastructure, and what is that infrastructure we have to see. And it's good to delve into that infrastructure, not because we are trying to get a PhD in psychology or psychoanalysis. But really speaking, Vedanta is that. Not in somebody else's psyche, your own psyche. Yeah. And so here, if we delve into the questioners, the one who is questioning the answer, we see so many things. Like for example, what are the things that you see? You see hopelessness, yes? Why? Because I asked for one, I didn't get it immediately, so therefore what? I'm never going to find the right answer. There is hopelessness, there is already, I told you, helplessness, because that helplessness is a cry for help, really. That's why the person is not able to sit quietly and listen, immediately has to interject. There is a helplessness of sorts, there is hopelessness. And then what? There is of course the ego, the ahankara that says, I may not know, but this person definitely doesn't know. If you don't know, how do you know whether the person knows or not? No, then I know. Then why are you approaching this person? If you know, then why are you asking the question? No, then I don't know. Then how can you judge the answer? You see? Stocks. Got. And then you also see a kind of a... one more thing that I see anyway, is a certain kind of a... borderline combativeness. Yes. And there is nothing wrong in this, but you might still know many people like that who can't get into a conversation without getting into a fight. And that also goes back to the first formative years. You say something, they will immediately launch into a certain conflict. And usually such people, the people who avoid conflict and the people who launch into conflict, end up getting married. And what is the person, just like the person who's always guilty ends up marrying the person who's always hurt. Yeah, guilty marries hurty. This is what happens. And guilty cannot stop apologizing, and for the hurt person it's never enough. And so both of them live happily ever after. And here too, the person who launches into conflict, and we can just only extrapolate that the formative years of such a person, of every Purva Pakshi here, who gives this kind of a weightage and is always launches into a kind of a combative situation, is that the love that was expressed was through conflict for such a person. In fact, if such a person was not degraded and was not fought with, that person did not feel loved because of the family dynamics. And in India this is very common, and a lot of Asian cultures where it is, one is not so effusive and demonstrative. I mean, you barely say good morning, let alone I love you and how much I love you. Nobody says that. It is shown in actions. Our parents never said we love you and all. These are all newfangled notions. We just knew when they were mad, when they were, we just knew, okay, there is no clear zone is not there. Leave house, come back later. Go to the neighbor's house and play and come back when, when the storm has cooled down. That's what, one would do. Nobody said, oh, we love you, oh, we should spend more time together, oh, we need space, leave the house right now. Nobody said that. This was all just, this is what it was, how it was. And so here, sometimes what happens is that, people say, in a lot of Asian cultures, we find this, you can only, the beliefs, I'm just articulating the beliefs, you can only fight with people that you love. To a certain extent it's true, you feel safe enough. But then the rest of it is not true. If I'm fighting with you, that means I love you. Not necessarily true. And what a funny way to show love, correct? But that's how it is. And even between parents and children, this is where I suppose the whole tiger mothering expression came. You know tiger mom? Yeah? Yeah. Tiger mom is the one who says the child comes home with, first grade in everything, 98%. Tiger mom says, where did the other 2% go? You're not paying attention. What's wrong? Is this what I taught you? Not that the tiger mother doesn't love the child, but the tiger mother has her own way of parenting through this kind of a creation of a conflict and through kind of derision, so that the belief is that you hone in the child's all these kinds of capacities by putting the child down constantly. That is where the expression tiger mother has come from. So there are lots of wonderful expressions. Tiger mother, helicopter parent, one who is hovering around the child. And, so like this. And so like this, there is this whole combativeness as a way of constantly testing relationships through making sure the person will be there for me even if I fight with them. I don't know what kind of a test of love it is, but this is how it is. I'm going to test you to make sure that you don't go away even though I show the worst side of me. Who says? The student to the teacher. This is also the beginnings of this we see here. I'm going to behave so badly that you will go away because everyone else has. So this is actually a cry for help. So really speaking, we don't even worry about the question because the question is inconsequential. We answer the question. Fine. And the question also shows that there is no understanding of the methodology of how the Vedanta works. The Vedantic pedagogy, the Vedantic way of talking about the vastu. What is vastu? The only thing to be known, the only thing worth being called a thing. So the pedagogy of showing that thing which is to be known, since that thing is as it were in my mind mixed up with non-things, correct? The non-things with nothing. So the thing is mixed up with nothing. That's why in the word nothing there is thing hidden. Do you see the word thing in nothing? Yeah. So thing hides in nothing. Very esoteric and beautiful. So I have to go through the no before I have to deal with the no before I go to the thing. The only thing that is worth being called a thing, which hides in all these nothings, in which I am caught up. I am caught up in all these nothings. Everything, no thing. My occupation, no thing. Marriage, no thing. Children, no thing. No thing, no thing, no thing, no thing, nothing, 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 nothing. But then I cannot give it all up. I cannot say, oh, all this is nothing. Because I still have to deal with this thing also. The body is also have to deal with, and everything I have to deal with. So the negation has to be very selectively deployed. If it's a random negation or a blanket negation, there is dissociation. Yeah. And that's just reiterating what one does anyway when one is in difficult situation. One dissociates. Out of body experience, this is not happening to me, yeah. That is what is called dissociating. Like every child, when it's being traumatized, that's what is going to one's happy place, goes into a place of la la land, denial, and this is not what we are trying to reproduce. So the denial is selective. All no things are really the thing to be known. But the thing becomes mixed up in all these no things, therefore it has to be delineated. And the thing informs all the no things. It is all pervasive. That thing is in and through all the no things. Everything is really that thing alone. And it is pervading that, like even the oil pervades the sesame seed. We saw in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So if you look at the sesame seed, you have to have a magnifying glass for this exercise. So in one hand you hold a sesame seed, have someone else hold the magnifying glass, and in the other hand you have a pin. And then you say, where shall I prick to get the oil? Is the oil in the sesame seed on the top, in the middle, on the bottom, on the left side, is flanking the front or the back? What is the answer? It's everywhere. Everywhere. Where inside the milk is the butter hidden? Huh? Which corner should I churn? Should I churn the left quarter of the milk bowl, or the right quarter, or the front or the back, or maybe I should just churn in the middle? Anywhere you churn. Where inside the wood lies the potential for the fire? So if I only light this tip, the fire will catch, not the other side. As long as the wood is dry, wherever you light it, it will catch. So this is what we have to see, that this thing is like the butter in the milk, is like the oil in the seed, and is like the potential for the fire in the wood. It is all pervasive. It is in and through, hidden by my inability to see it as myself, really, as non-separate from me. Why? Because the name and the form in which the thing hides has to be delineated. So the denial or the negation has to be selective. I don't even negate the name and form. I just question the name and form. Is it the final? No. And the name and the form gives way to that thing which sustains the name and the form, which sustains everything and anything. In itself, actually the thing is no thing, but it is a thing. It's the only thing, really. No thing means empty of name and form. Empty of form, empty of name, empty of word, empty of meaning. But that meaning is you. That meaning is really ultimately you. So therefore the teacher has to say that there are two things, two kinds of knowledges. One is the knowledge of ways and means and ends. One is a knowledge of no thing. The other is called Paravidya, the knowledge of the thing. But the no thing has to be mentioned to get to the thing. Because even in the word nothing, you have to encounter the no at first. So it's a selective negation. That is why he says, Dve Vidya Veditavye, two kinds of knowledges must be known. There is another reason also the teacher responds like this, very beautiful and a deep reason. Lest one think that the first knowledge is useless. He adds the word must be known. It has the force of an injunction. Tavya. Tavya means you have to. Veditavye. Oh, but that is Tavya. Here it is Tavye. How? Why? Dve Vidye Veditavye. Why Tavye? Ayyayo. How many knowledges are being talked about?
1, 2.
We'll have another drink of water. How many knowledges are being talked about?
2.
How does Vidya decline?
Vidya.
Stop. Vidya? Vidya means how many knowledges? 2. So to qualify Vidya, you have to say what? Veditavye. And how many? Dve. So this is the agreement. Tavye means two, dual. Why? Because it is qualifying Vidya. So two knowledges must be known. There is a deeper reason. And what is this deeper reason? Lest one think that the first kind of knowledge, the knowledge of ways, means and ends, and the knowledge of nothing really, is not necessary. Because I have to only go hone in like a drone, What a metaphor, huh? Yeah. Like a drone, I have to hone in and kill this knowledge. This is what people use. I asked a teenager, how did you do on your test? Because, this was in Atlanta last time. Some exam. I didn't come yesterday because I was having an exam. How did you do? And the teenager said, I killed it. I got scared. I said, oh, what does that mean? I killed it means I did very well. This is our metaphors. So here I have to hone in only to the thing. Why should I bother with nothing? You yourself are saying the first one is called Apara, non-ultimate, non-total, relative. But the other one is absolute. Which is starting to look good now? Of course the absolute. Who wants to be stuck with a relative? Relative or relatives? Nobody wants to be stuck with them, right? I always want to go to the absolute. Absolutely. And so lest one, dismiss this first body of knowledge. This is a caveat by the teacher that both are important and both have to be known. And then if both have to be known, and there is only one thing, and that thing is called Paravidya, the ultimate, then how do we look at the first body of knowledge? If you look at the first body of knowledge as a preparation to know the ultimate. So the relative is relegated to the relative place of being the preparation to know the absolute. How lovely is that? And you see the answer is laden. The question is laden. So lest one dismiss the knowledge of means and ends, because what is the knowledge of the absolute? The knowledge of the absolute is you are not the doer. Neither are you done in by other people's doings, omissions and commissions. And you give this knowledge to somebody who is, incarcerated for, for being a habitual offender. Habitual offender means has done the same thing many times. Incarcerated for life, and that person will say, I am akarta, I am not the doer, somebody else did it. In fact, that's frequently their defense. I heard voices in my head, some, illness is there. Something that is frequently their defense. Somebody told me to do it, devil told me to do it, God told me to do it. That is frequently the feeling, because there is dissociation. And so, you cannot say that, that is not, if that knowledge that you are not the doer, you are not done in, if this vision is given before the preparedness of the mind has taken place, then one is in deep trouble, because one gets the partial feeling that I am not the doer, but then one doesn't have the responsibility of what is correct, what is right, what is appropriate in my stage of life, what is the correct thing to do. If one is not aligned to dharma, and one goes straight away for that freedom, moksha, I can do anything I want, I am free, then that is not a responsible way of delivering the teaching, and neither will the teaching take root in the person's mind, in the person's heart. So the knowledge of ways and means, and the knowledge of how to have a solid life, and how to, be able to discern the right from the wrong, is what is called relative knowledge, and that is absolutely needed and must be studied before this other knowledge is studied. So in this answer, not only the different knowledges have been talked about, what has to be studied is talked about, and then what has to be studied as a preparation for what else is also talked about. And when something is a preparation, after you have gained the preparation, it is no longer needed, correct? Yes. Not that you throw away the books, you just outgrow them. You outgrow the Apara Vidya, you outgrow the non-ultimate knowledge, which consists of ways, ends, means, pursuits, various pursuits, which consists also of primary and secondary relationships. You don't have to dismiss the relationships, you outgrow them. And in the Hindu tradition, a successful marriage is the one that you have outgrown. What is outgrown? When you stop groaning. That's what it is at the sight of the other person. You outgrow the marriage, and that is, you're ripe with spiritual maturity to gain this knowledge. And if you look at the grandfathers and grandmothers in the tradition, nobody says, think of your own grandmothers, grandfathers. Probably in every tradition it says. No grandma says to grandpa, I think we need to spend more time together. No. She has her own life. She has her own buddies. She does her own thing. Grandpa has his cronies that he goes out for a walk with if he can walk, otherwise they are just there sitting under a tree. In the villages you see this often. All the men are sitting under a tree and the women are sitting outside in front of their houses. They have a completely different social life. And maybe at meal times they, meet each other. And then there are strict codes of how to address each other. They are traditional, from 2 generations ago. She is not supposed to take his name. You don't address the spouse by the name, and he also rarely takes her name. In North India, they will take the child's name and say, oh, the mother of so-and-so, where are you gone? That's what they say. He will say. And she will say, the father of so-and-so, where are you? Like this. This is the traditional way. And rarely do they need to even call out to each other. He knows she exists. She knows he exists. They have separate but strangely interconnected lives. They may nod at each other when they see each other at mealtime. That's all it is. There's nothing to talk about, because everything to talk has been already talked out. There is a very beautiful peacefulness, and there is total permission You don't have to ask each other permission, can I go here? Let us sync our calendars. Yeah. No syncing of calendars. And no syncing S-I-N-K-I-N-G without the S-Y-N-C-I-N-G either. Because if we don't sync, you sink. No such thing. Let us sync. Oh, it's 3 weeks since we saw each other. Let us, match and find some time. No such thing. There is love. There is caring. It's not that you give up the love and the caring. The love and the caring are there. But it's a matured love and caring. In other words, you enjoy the person without expecting anything of them. You enjoy them completely because you have stopped expecting things of them. Anybody that's married for a certain number of years knows this already. That whatever expectations that you have to bundle and put in the attic because the other person is not going to fulfill them. Why didn't I know this before the marriage? Well, you knew it afterwards at least. Thank your stars. Sometimes it takes a few marriages to know this. After the 7th marriage, I was enlightened. How? I understood I cannot change this person. So you are a changed person? Yes, thank God. Wonderful. So at least it only took 7 marriages and not 7 lifetimes. Very good. Fantastic. See, this is how the Apara Vidya comes into the picture. It is needed. You have to get all the yayas out, as they say. Yeah. This is what it is. The need for control, the need to try to change somebody. It's very tempting. And it's so delicious to say, I'm going to rescue this person, I told you that this couple came to me for getting blessed, 25th marriage anniversary. I said, what did you learn? First of all, I said, why did you get married? They said, we are from the olden times. We have arranged marriage. So I said, yeah, but arranged marriage, but you saw each other, right? Yes, we had 1 or 2 meetings in a very, strict setting. The elders are present and the youngsters, the prospective bride and the groom are also present, and they are, talking in front of everybody. So I said, what did you think? And she answered first. She said, oh, he looked so helpless. First I looked, and then his socks, one sock was up, one sock was down. I said, oh, poor thing. Can't even pull up his socks, wearing socks without elastic. What kind of a fellow this is? He definitely needs me to rescue him. And he looked shocked. This is after 25 years of being married to her. He said, you thought that? You never told me that. Oh, well, you never asked that. We never had this conversation. So I didn't tell you. And then I asked him, what did you think? I thought exactly the same thing. She can't even carry this tea tray. She's... She needs help. She needs a lot of help. I'm going to rescue her. Yeah. Then I asked, who rescued who? She said, after 1 month of getting married, I found out such a strong woman she is. So dominating. And of course she interjected, I'm not dominating. She dominated the conversation. And then, he said, and then I asked her, she said, he's not strong, he's not needing any rescue at all. He's very strong, he's very capable. And then what we learnt is to leave each other alone. Yeah. So I said, then what did you do? Then we thought that we can unleash all our expectations on the children. Yeah. Then what happens? That works only till the children hit adolescence. Yeah. Then they begin to hit the expectations down. Yeah. One by one. Yeah. That's what happens. But that is all necessary to outgrow. Outgrow means not outgrow the love and the caring. Please understand, you don't have to sit and go and sit in a forest. Especially in this age of deforestation. Where are you going to find? What you have to do is clear. Use these relationships selectively and wisely to clear the inner jungle of expectations, desires, fears, insecurities. And it is needed to do that in order to gain even a desire for this knowledge. So that's why we recommend marriage. We recommend a life of togetherness, because as long as that togetherness is understood fully, and it's even wonderful if the other person is also participating in that and is aware. And even if they are not aware, if you are aware, you can take the marriage to new heights never seen before, really, because you use it as a preparatory ground, as a fertile ground. It is making the soil ready. Yeah, because the soil, has to be ready. Where the seeds of this Para Vidya are sown, it should take root immediately. It should start flowering. It should flower. And it should shower you with the flowers. It should empower you. Otherwise, if the inner jungle is not interrogated through the knowledge of relative ways, means, ends, relationships, pursuits, then what happens? It's like sowing seeds on hot rock. What will happen if you sow seed on a hot rock? It will get roasted. Yes. Not good for anything. A roasted seed is not a sprouting seed. Correct? Yes. So the seed is really the kernel of this knowledge, and that is the Upanishad. And what is this knowledge? The Upanishad is feminine. Understand, the word Upanishad is feminine. And the mind here, that the mind or the inner antahkarana, the inner instrument, where the seed takes root, is the soil, or is the preparedness. The mind has to be prepared. And the preparation cannot happen unless we find a way to use our relationships and our pursuits to get out all those expectations and desires that have taken a stronghold in the mind, a stranglehold, if you will. But then you said the expectations cannot be fulfilled. Yes, but do you know that? No. Okay, then you better know that. How do I know that? By trying to fulfill them. That's how I know. Only by striving to fulfill. That's how I know. So you see, this is such a gentle knowledge where nothing is condemned. The person is not condemned. Their behavior is not condemned. Their desires are taken into account. They are validated. They are not condemned. Nobody is judged for having desires, because this is Bhagavan, this is God, is in the form of desire. Of course, as long as it doesn't hurt someone. So desire and creativity are expressions of God, of Ishvara. Nothing is condemned. It's not, it's not contemptible. It's not, condemned. To want something is not condemned. Go ahead, pursue that. There's nothing wrong in that. It is validated. In fact, you must have that in order to have this. Because the first must is a preparatory must. Oh, but there's only one must. No, that's why we delved in the grammar. How many musts are there? 2 musts. One must for the one knowledge, the second must for the second knowledge, one must you must know for the non-ultimate relative knowledge of ways, means, ends and relatives, and the second must is for that absolute knowledge that transcends everything absolutely. That's why I delved into the grammar, so that the grammar doesn't become musty. That's why how many musts are there? 2 musts. So the first must is so that you prepare for the knowledge, and the second must, which qualifies the absolute knowledge, is absolutely a must. That must has a different force. Meaning, all these other knowledges, if you keep skimming, and knowing, you know nothing. You know nothing at all. Even though you think you know a lot, what you know is zero. This is what it is. And who was told that? Narada, the great sage, was told that. Where? In the Chandogya Upanishad. How? We'll see that after the break. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. What fun, no? So 15 minutes, 20 minutes